So today's topic is mistakes that you see agents commonly make when they're trying to use social media to grow their business, and what you would do differently.
I'm going to begin with rant number 1.
Okay.
All right. When you're in a Facebook group that has all real estate agents from all over the country, do not put your stupid open house on there because those people are not coming. All right. It's the most annoying thing on the planet. Like having run several Facebook groups, I'm like, bro, seriously, how many times are you going to make me decline your crappy open house? Like, no, nobody's coming. Anyway, yeah, that's rant number 1. I mean, like, talk about message market match, like just absolute flop, The real estate agents from all over the country are not coming to your open house. No need to post that on, the national real estate group on Facebook. I'm just going to keep going down the line. Like, I got more qualms about real estate agents' social media. Is that okay?
Yeah.
In the realm of like the groups, the other thing is like, can we please stop biting on all the clickbait things in these groups? It drives me insane. And I'm like, how people not see through this? And they don't. There's so many agents that are just getting swindled off of these like.
Oh, dude, I didn't even think of that one. That one drives me the most nuts. Like, it'll be a pretend sob story. Have you seen these?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, Trump's going to wreck the economy. How do I get business now? And it's like, oh, how about that? How fortuitous. How fortuitous. Like, all these other lead gen companies pop up. Oh, I've been having really good success with this. Yeah. No, you haven't. Right? Probably not even a real human.
Well, yeah, if you click on it,
awesome lead gen strategy for the lead side. Yeah, for the company selling that stuff. No hate there, right? Respect, but for the agents, like the clickbait is so hokey, right? Yeah. What I saw one the other day. It was like just the craziest thing. Something about prejudice or racism caused her a deal. Like those stories aren't true,
right? Another one that I see on a regular basis is the set it and forget it stuff without having any real strategy. So like people will just waste money with people that will just like automatically post for them. But they have no engagement, right? So they have like 433 friends on Facebook and they're posting to their Facebook, or they start a new page and their page has like 22 followers and they're pasting it every single day. And like you look at the comments and there's you don't have comments. You look at the reactions, and it's like just the one person whose feed it is.
You leave my grandma out of this, girl. My grandma likes all my posts.
She, when we used to go live in Facebook, she used to make me feel really good because she'd be like, "You're doing great, guys."
I know. Well, I think that there's this fallacy of information out there that like if you do more volume of it, you're going to get a different outcome. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't have the right audience, you're not going to get the right outcome. And it doesn't matter. You can throw more garbage up there. It's just not going to make an impact. And it does have an adverse impact. If somebody that has any type of just even consideration sees that, they're gonna be like, oh, this person doesn't look like they're doing very good, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there's that, I was trying to think of some of my other rants, but you took the wind out of my sails on that one.
Sorry.
Well, that's a big one, Yeah. The clickbait stuff in these groups is atrocious. It's so bad.
Yeah. And if you take an extra step, like most of them will have the profile set up to where it's like, been in real estate since 2023. Here's my license number. I'm with KW, blah, 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 blah. But if you go, you see that the profile was created in 2023 or 2024 or 2025.
Dude, I don't know my freaking license number. Right. Who knows that?
Yeah.
Right?
Like why, just to have this quick appearance that it's a real person.
Yeah.
But if you do a little bit of digging, like their last profile picture was something in clearly another country. But like Cameron, we got the luck of having Cameron here, who's got quite a bit of followers on TikTok.
No, there's no luck. We're paying this dude.
We got we came across him early enough before he was TikTok famous.
Fair.
Well, what is funny is that I actually have that following because of Mike.
Really?
Like he's the one who's like, hey, you should do this, and that's what I did, and that's how I got.
And you have 850.
I have 1.1 million over all platforms.
Sweet. Yes. But hang on, let me throw this back. All right. Now I had the suggestion of that, but Cam did the work and he's done a lot, and he's actually funny and engaging, so that does help.
Yeah, but it's the actual engagement that matters, right? So like there was a long time ago, there was this post with an agent in Michigan, and it was a really good idea, but all it said, he made one post and he had like 300 comments in 24 hours. And all it said was, respond with your monthly rent payment and I'll send you a list of homes you could afford with the same monthly payment.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just like, right. He got a ton of buyer leads from that, obviously.
Yeah.
But that one thing he had to be able to parlay, because now he's showing Facebook or whatever it was on, that people like his stuff and will comment on his stuff and engage on his stuff. So like once you get that one little hit, then it's like, okay, now you can go put out the stuff that's actually going to get in people's feeds.
For sure. I was just at a conference and they had Prince EA, I think was the guy. Yeah. And he's like, big influencer, and he was talking about strategy and what he was saying. And I saw Gary Vee talk about this recently too. He said it used to be that your engagement would only be as big as your follower list. He said, but today, like, you can crack through and everybody has kind of an equal footing, because if you create something that goes viral, like, it doesn't matter how many followers you got. So he's like, for me, all this work that I did creating all these followers, actually, I think this was Gary Vee. I don't think Prince EA actually said this, but he parroted it. Anyway, everybody's on an equal playing field. So like, you got to make better content if you want to have the game reward you. And so he said, for me, all that work that I did to create all those followers is kind of for naught now, because I'm going to get in people's feeds. They're going to get in people's feeds depending on the engagement of the content. And I think that's a really cool way to do it. I think it's a better, more fair way from a person trying to create content standpoint. But let's talk about some things that people can do that don't suck, right? And I think to begin, obviously we want to talk about Facebook groups and in neighborhood groups and things of that nature. But, if you're in a place that is even remotely interesting, which should be pretty much everywhere in the United States. There's a few exceptions, like where Jake grew up. I'm just joking. That's just joking. Yeah. No, it wasn't actually Chicago.
Quad Cities, baby.
Yeah, no. Even that's interesting. If you think about it from the perspective of somebody who's going to move there, right? So people are going to move to that spot. They're going to get curious about that spot. And so, what I would prefer to see as somebody who buys things in different places and looks at different places and considers living in different places is more content around the place that I want to be, right? So I can feel like I'm getting to know the area. And so what's the intent of social media? You're not going to sell a house over social media, right? And you're not going to list a house over social media. It's just not going to happen. So the intent is to create authority, right? And to get people to feel like they know, like, and trust you. And so that's the only goal in the game of social media, period, right? And so with that in mind, especially if you're in a beautiful area, right? Like, I look at Florida all the time and I'm just shocked that there's not more agents making content about all the eye candy that's around there and like giving people a backstage pass, showing them around, right? Like if they got a boat, taking them out on the boat with them. Hey guys, I just want to show you, how we do it down here. This is our lifestyle, right? I was just in Marco Island. You can boat to the freaking grocery store, to Publix. Like if I was an agent in Marco Island, which we have some, like that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, come with me. We're going to boat to We're going to boat to the gas station or to the grocery store, y'all. Watch this, right? Like that's mind blowing for people. Yep. And anybody dreaming about being down there is going to be dreaming about that. And it doesn't matter if it's even a place that you think is uninteresting because you lived there your whole life. There's still cool things about your spot, why people are moving there, whether they're doing it because they want to be there, they want to be closer to family members, or they're getting a job transfer. Like they still want to feel good about that, right? Even if it's something outside of their desire to move there. So they're going to be looking around for things to validate that decision. And I feel like that's the best strategy for content on social media. And for me, like, I would never create a piece of content like that where I didn't have a plug. We were talking about this earlier in our marketing meeting. Like, I always want to have my intent out there, right? Like my intent is to get you as a customer. Okay.
Click the link below.
Click the link below. That's why we do this, right? Actually, the reason why we do this is not to get you as a customer. The reason why we do this is so that you can get to know us better, right? Like the goal is for you to be able to get to know us better so that you're more comfortable with us. The more time you spend with us, the more comfortable you are with us, the more likely you're going to do business with us. And so that's the goal. And I think that is what eludes a lot of the real estate community when they're thinking through content.
Well, and what I will say is I think you're right. I also think that you can make content that is widely applicable in the buying process, like explaining the buying process, the selling process, whatever, and get those shares and get those things that like make you go viral up. Yep. And then whenever you do have a prospective customer, you can say, hey, here's a piece of content I put out. They'll see that you have 100, 200, 300,000 views on that thing and think
like
you're
a boss,
and then think you're a bigger deal than you are,
right? Which
automatically gives you gravity in their mind.
100%. All of those things can be created, right? Like celebrity is created. We've talked about that for years. every celebrity you ever knew didn't just. I was watching R. Kelly the other day. I'm serious. I was on social media and they had like
about that name.
R. Kelly performing at the BET Awards, right? And so he's like giving little short, maybe 30-second spurts of his songs, right? His top songs. Yeah, take it easy over there. Of his top songs, right? And so my point is like, most of those songs were so overly engineered. It's not like they came from him and he had every aspect of them, right? Like they were engineered to be universally popular, right? And so all of celebrity is created like that. And so, when I think of going viral as a real estate agent, I think it's pretty intimidating, right? Because you look at like some of these rapping real estate agents or the dancing one or the young kid that does like the 30-second, tours of the homes and he runs through the homes. He's sliding over here, he's sliding over there because people see that and they're like, oh, shit, that's not me, right? Like, that's not me. I'm not going to be dorking out. Jake would kill that, right?
He does not have the cardio for those kind of videos.
but at the same time, like, he's more of a ham than I am. I'm more like serious, kind of, tactical, right? Like I like to be taken seriously, right? And so for me, what I do, like if I were thinking through that, like, oh, I'm gonna create a viral video for social media for real estate, I'd be like, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. But again, you can do it based on whoever you are.
You should do it based on whoever.
The only way you should do it is based on whoever you are. So if you're a jokester, right? If you're a natural ham, right? Like
you don't have to make eye contact while you're saying it,
right? Or if you're a comedian by nature, like Cam, right? Or for me, like what I would do is what I just prescribed. Like I would just take people on the journey with me and be like, hey, here's my lifestyle. Here's what we do down here. Here's how it works. This could be you too, right? I would take them to nice restaurants and be like, hey, I love this restaurant here. In Springfield here, I'd be like, hey, come check out Flame, my favorite restaurant, or Char. You can flip a coin on those. I love both, right? I'd be showing them bacon wrap dates. Like, these are fire. You can't get these anywhere else. Like, look at this steak, man. You're going to love it here. I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait, for you to get down here if you're relocating. What'd you push? Oh. Fair. Anyway.
Were you waiting for the applause?
No, I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, where are we going with that? Yeah. We got these sound buttons. Push one. There we go. Thank you. Far too kind. But yeah, so that would be my style, right? That would be my style of making video in order to be able to make people more comfortable with me.
Yes. And like YouTube, and this is where like some of the social media stuff, like you have some stuff that lives on and lives on and lives on, reels and stuff. Obviously, people go back and watch a bunch of people's reels and stuff. But YouTube is a place that's like most, like probably closest to real estate, to where like there is legit, you can't beat some people because they've just been so far into the game. Like I've seen agents that are making really good money purely from YouTube just because they started putting out content so many years ago that they just have a foothold that it's hard to, like, if you're searching in Prosper, Texas, it's hard to like get in because somebody is dominating the Prosper, Texas real estate keywords inside of YouTube. Yeah. Right. And like that now they just got to keep up. The only way to get them to fall off the mountain is for them to stop putting out new stuff. It's not updated for 2025 or whatever. So then it just kind of fades out. But we did a test a long time ago in Prosper. Actually, there was a new development called Windsong Ranch, and they had these like lagoons that was like clear water, supposed to feel like you're at a beach.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are really cool.
Yes.
I just want to make friends with somebody who lives in one of those neighborhoods so I can go.
You could only take one guest at a time. So if you had like a family of 4, you had to have 4 families that lived in the neighborhood to get all 4 of you in.
That's a little.
It was excessive. We did randomly have the month that they filled it in, the entire city of Prosper, everybody had like $150 spike in their water bill, and they just were like, we don't know where it came from. We're like, you filled the lagoon this month. I don't know why you just don't know where it came from. But anyway, there was an
style.
Yes, right. There was an agent in town that just started putting out a ton of content about thinking about moving to Prosper, thinking about moving to Windsong. Let me go do it. And they'd show the lagoon, they'd show some of the houses, they'd go walk through some of the builders. Yeah. And it started getting traction. I don't think they continued as much as they needed to, but he actually got business from that just because it was something that was popping up when people were considering Windsong. So when you can hit whole areas that, and you could look at like migration paths of like where people are going to. If you're in Texas, you're in Austin, Dallas, there's all kinds of people still coming from California, and you can see migration paths of where they're going and like thinking about moving from California to Austin, Texas.
Right.
Check out the 10 best areas California's
Which
along.
you can find that on irs.gov.
Really?
Migration paths. Yep.
Even better.
It's even a cheat code for pay-per-click, right? So if you're running pay-per-click in California, you don't have any competition for keywords of Austin, Texas, geo-targeted California. Yep.
That's
And
genius.
the other thing, like with the algorithms, like if they click on something that says Windsong or whatever, the algorithm is going to recognize anything else that says Windsong and start serving them things up for those. So even if they're not in your realm, you're still improving your likelihood of just putting that out there.
Yeah, there was an agent in Prosper that had a whole setup where all she did was do reloads from. She had moved from California to Prosper, and so she was just advertising in her. She was like Northern California, Sacramento area. So she was spending all of her marketing money in Sacramento, saying, thinking about moving to Texas, you should check out Prosper. And then she did a whole weekend experience to where they would fly in. She would pick them up on a party bus, take them directly to the hotel, let them check in, and then do a weekend of tours with them, and then take them back to the airport on Sunday in the party bus. And she was doing like 80 transactions a year just from that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I think a lot of times when people think about, especially content and social media, it's like such a big thing, right? It doesn't have to be such a big thing. You can start, and you should start with the neighborhood that you're in, right? And so we talked about, neighborhood groups on Facebook.
Yep.
A lot of neighborhoods have them now, right? So I've got a place down there in Florida, and my neighborhood has one, and some dude runs that thing, right? And then even the neighborhood within the neighborhood has one. So like the street that I'm on has one. And so that doesn't mean that opportunity is over. Now, in contrast to that, like I had a house under contract. It was in the neighborhood. There were about 75 houses in this little circle, and their HOA fees were too high. So the first thing I did was went to see if there was a neighborhood group for that subdivision. There was not. So my first plan of attack was I'm going to make one, right? I'm going to put flyers on everybody's door, right? Inviting them to the Facebook group for the neighborhood. And then I'm going to usurp the leadership by taking over the HOA and then start asserting and planting the seeds of this HOA fee being too high so we could crack the lid.
On today's episode of Game of Homes.
Game of Homes. I like it. See? It's good to have a comedian in the mix, right?
We need a
pushing the button.
Game of Thrones. We need
Wait, one more.
We need a Game of Thrones theme song on there.
Seriously. But my point is, like, there's still a lot of neighborhoods that don't have a Facebook group. And so, like, a lot of times people are like, well, how do you do that? Well, what do you do? Well, it's real simple, right? You go create a group on Facebook. You take a picture of the sign of the subdivision, put that as the photo, the banner. Thank you. And then from there, I personally bought like a domain name for the neighborhood, right? So for mine, it was like Millwood. What was it? MillwoodSubdivision.com. Sorry, it's been a minute.
Do you still own that?
I still own that. Yeah, forwarded that to the Facebook group, and then I was able to find through group emails from past HOA members like all of the emails. So I just did an email blast. But if I couldn't do that, I would literally just print on my home printer a flyer, say neighbors, let's get together, start this Facebook group, right? MillwoodSubdivision.com, and just stick it in their doors. It doesn't cost nothing to do. Like I had a golf cart, I would have just drove the golf cart around and did that, right? And so starting in your neighborhood at a minimum. Now, what to do if there's already a group? Start to engage, right? Like start to engage in that group, start to comment on things, start to post things, start to talk about things, and be visible, right? So when you make an ask, it's not like, oh, who the heck is this? Spam, right? Like, report to admins. Yeah. Well, start to add value and engage.
And if you're a real estate agent, you should be doing that with all the posts that you see that relate to your area. Yep. You should be like, yeah, does anybody know a good place for it? Like, yeah, I know the perfect place, blah, 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 and like get in and like do that with everything. Not just your stuff, but everyone's stuff out there.
100%.
Do you know a good little one that I saw in our Texas one, the Facebook group? There's a couple real estate agents in there, and one took the lead and was just around tax roll time. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you have any need or desire to dispute your your property value, I can pull comps for you, and just let me know.
Hit me up.
Yeah, and so just that's a good way of adding value to the group without being like, hey, and if you're thinking about selling, call me tomorrow, right? Like, oh, come on by. Like,
well, you can even post homes that are for sale in the neighborhood, even if they're not your listing, like on a consistent basis, like a monthly list. Like, hey guys, here's what's for sale latest in the neighborhood. Just wanted to keep all the neighbors abreast in case you got a good neighbor for us, right? Like, there's just so many little things that you can do that will add value instead of just trying to extract or just have an auto poster or stupid things that are annoying that don't get engagement.
And that is the basis of most every problem, is just the microwave society of I need something now and me, I, and not just leading with the premise of if I add enough value, then I'm going to be taken care of. Right. Like, you just got to believe that to your core and just go out and do that every single day. And good things will come your way.
It's social media. Be social.
Be social. Yeah. But I think the main thing too is, like I said, most of the time when people think through it, there's a fear factor, and the fear factor is I'm going to have to be somebody that I'm not. Like,
yes.
And the reason why is because if I don't put on this front, then I might lose people from doing business with me. But the reality is you're probably not going to get those people anyway. And if you do, they're going to be the horrible client that you talk about forever, right? Like, I showed them 25 houses and then they ghosted me. Why? Well, because you weren't a match, right? So one of the other things that social media does is it kind of warms people up and it attracts the right people to you if you're genuine, if you're yourself, right? So the kind of people you're going to attract are going to be people who are like you, people who already like you as, a character and a person.
Yeah.
And if you're authentic, then you're going to get more of the right people.
Agreed. Bam.
Yep.